Hey there, welcome back to Popcorn and Summaries. Today, we're diving into the 1999 mystery movie known as Eyes Wide Shut. But before we jump into the details, make sure to show us some love by liking the video, leaving a comment, and, of course, subscribing to the channel if you're into the commentary. Now, let's get right into it. The movie opens with another married couple named Alice and Bills. Bill is very handsome, and he became a doctor at a young age. So he has a lot of reputation. And he was married to the beautiful Alice. Alice and Bill get ready and go to attend the Christmas party of Mr. Ziegler and his wife Ellen, a very established and well-known lawyer. There was a very familiar face to Alice who was playing the piano. His name is Nick. This Nick was in medical college with Alice 10 years ago. But he dropped out midway because he didn't like the medical field. Now he is a piano player in a band. Alice meets him after many years. But it was not possible to talk to him much in this party. So she tells Nick she plays piano at a club next door if he wants to meet her. Then she left from there. Then a charming businessman with Alice was trying to get Sanders' flat. And wanted to spend the night with him. And on the other hand, some models were flirting with Bill's because he is so handsome. Both of them were enjoying these things. But while Bill was enjoying these things, he got a call from Mr. Ziegler. Because while spending private time with a girl named Mendy, the girl fainted. He was summoned because Bill's was a doctor. The girl fainted due to overdrinking. Bills helped the girl recover. Ziegler begs Bills not to tell anyone. So he keeps his word. On the other hand, Alice is shown how to cope with Sanders' dashing flirting. After that both went back to their house. And that night the two got engaged. The next day it is shown that their life has become normal again. Where Bill was in his doctorate job. And Alice was in her housewife life with her 7-year-old daughter Helena. Then both get together again at night. And they were doing the Passion Quartet. After they finished talking, Alice suddenly asked him what he was doing with those models that day. Bill lies that he wasn't flirting with them. Now Bills also asks Alice who he was dancing with? Even though he wasn't interested, he asked? In response, Alice bluntly says that the man wants to spend the night with her, to which Bills begins to joke that you're beautiful and that's how people are over there. Because he knows he is very handsome, Alice will never leave him. So he kept saying these things. Alice took it differently. Then she was asking if all boys are the same, then did she think the same for those models? Bills tries to convince her that she can't think like that. Because she is married. Hearing this, Alice got angry again. She says you didn't spend the night with those models only because you are married. And if you are not married then you must do this with them, so where is the difference between you and others? Then Bill says it's different for men and women. Men never miss a chance whenever they get it. On the other hand, girls are in search of their true love, or behind the court. And this is why he trusts Alice so much as his wife. Because he knows Alice would never do that. And here proves Bill's wrong. Alice tells him to fill her with jealousy about when they went to the resort on their family vacation. She was so obsessed with a stranger man she met there that she thought of him every time and quartet with. She was so crazy about him that for a while she was even willing to leave their married life. When she found out that the Stenger had left the resort, she was somehow relieved that he was saved from spending the night with a Stenger. This she would certainly have done if Stenger had remained there. After hearing these words of Alice, Bill was completely disappointed and worried. And just to say something to Alice, there is an urgent call. So he went out to see the patient. Bills was still disappointed by Alice's words and was imagining the moment Alice was intimate with the man. When he reaches the patient's room, the patient's daughter Marion gives him the bad news that her father has died. Bill continues to comfort her. But Marion blurts out that she likes him a lot. But Bill refuses because she thinks he's saying these things in a dream. So he gives the girl to her boyfriend. He then went out into the street and he was still in Alice's confession. He couldn't imagine how Alice could think that. Because he would never do that. Because he knows his boundaries. Just then a prostitute Domino offers her him services, and after much thought Alice leaves with him. The two were kissing when Alice got a call and Bills lied to her that he was still with his patient. He would be too late. And then thinking about Bill, she felt bad for coming with Domino so she left. Then, while passing by, she sees Nick's bar, so she goes to meet him. Then while talking to Nick she learns about a secret late-night quarters party. The party is so secret that entry requires a secret password and a different costume. Alice somehow understands the meaning of that password. She then asks Nick to share the details of the party. When Nick shares the details with her, then she requested the costume shop to open the shop at night. He then gives her extra money and buys the costume from there. But Alice's words were still in his head as he passed by the taxi. He then takes a taxi to a mansion far away. And after showing that password given by Nick, That entry is found. And she was shocked to see the view of that mansion. In the middle of the hall, her friend Nick was blindfolded playing the piano. And there were 13 women in black costumes and masks in the circle, and in the middle of them was the man in the red color suit. They looked like they were playing a ritual. And everything looked so terrible. And then all the women at the beckoning of the man in the middle take off their costumes and become half naked. And at the end of the ritual, each woman chooses a man one by one and takes them to quartet with them. And there a woman likes Bill and takes him with her. And he begs Beals to leave. Because here his life is in danger. But still do not understand who the woman is and how to know her? So she asks him to remove his mask. He doesn't listen. So Bill starts walking around. Then the woman tells him to leave again. But Bills wanders into a place, and he is completely surprised. Because maybe someone was quartering here and the others were watching him go around. And then the real leader of the Bills group is known. And he is presented in front of everyone. And watching this scene in the movie, it seemed that Bill was presented with some punishment. Everyone was wearing masks, so it looked like a scary scene. The group leader asked him another password to check his identity. And he did not know this password. And he is asked to strip naked with his mask removed as punishment. So he took off his mask, but then the woman comes there and says that he will be naked in another place, and she requests to let him go. Everyone there is surprised. The leader of the group accepts the woman and tells not to tell anyone about this. And they let him go, saying that if he tells these things to anyone, they will harm his family. Then someone wearing a crow mask comes and takes away. Bills returned home still worried about what he had witnessed and worried about his daughter. Then he wakes up from a nightmare and hugs Alice. He shares his dream with her. His dream was that he was in a place where he was playing quartets with a lot of people, just to make Bills jealous. It was then that he developed a deep hatred for Alice. And suddenly Bills became more disappointed with these transformations of Alice. Thinking about the woman and his friend Nick in the morning, he goes to meet at his hotel. There he learns that Nick has checked out from there. And after asking the boy who was there, he came to know that someone had taken him by force. And there were marks of injury on his body. Bills then went to the party's mansion to find out more. After wandering there, a man gives him a letter in his name. In this letter he is given a warning. And he wondered how they knew his name? Because he has revealed his face but not his name. So how did they know his name? He then went back home, but his mind was still on yesterday's incident. And he remembered Alice's confession. So he excuses himself and goes to the office. And now he's wondering if he still needs to have an affair? Then he angrily calls Marion about the one-night stand affair. Then his fiancée picks up the call. So Bill hangs up. He then goes to the prostitute Domino's room, but she is not there either. So Bills was trying to seduce his friend. Then the girl also started showing interest in him. He then asks him about Domino's, and then his friend tells him that he left the place because he tested HIV positive. And that's when Bills heard this and left there. And thought that if he had sex with her, he would have contracted HIV. And Bills then saw that someone had followed him. Then he somehow retreated from him. And from a newspaper he learns that a former beauty queen, Amanda, was found dead in the hotel due to drug overdose. Alice was suspicious of this news. So she goes to the morgue to see her, and after seeing her there she remembers that it was Mandy who he saved at Ziegler's party. And it was the masked woman. She began to fear that it was because of her that this happened to the girl. After leaving the hospital, she gets a call from Ziegler calling Bills to meet him secretly. He tells her that Ziegler knows what party he went to because he was there. So she begs him to stop her investigation. Ziegler tells him that the party consisted of nothing but Quartus and Warjing. All those who attended the party were from rich families. And they don't want anyone to know their name, so they give him that warning letter just to scare him. And was keeping an eye on him. People suspected him because he came in a taxi. And they got his name from the costume shop bill on his coat. And that other password was also a game to catch his lies. She found out about the party through Nick, and they didn't want anyone to know about them. So they took Nick up. And no one killed Mendy either, he is one. He was a street worker and had an accident due to an overdose. And Mandy's part was also to scare him. Bill couldn't agree with Mr. Ziegler, but there was nothing could do about it. Because their rank was much higher than him. They can ruin his name. Bill's concern grew when he saw the mask with Alice. And seeing this, he hugged Alice and burst into tears. Just like when Alice filled Gil after that nightmare. Bill then tells Alice everything. Then he broke down after hearing this. And Bill says, our relationship has become complicated now. It is then shown that the two went shopping for Christmas gifts. Then Bill asked Alice, what should we do now? After much thought, we should be thankful that we both came back alive from our experiences. And the relationship needs to be given another chance. And more quarters need to be done. And this is where this complicated movie ends. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.